House pushes for stronger oversight, boosts funding to empower Bureau of Public Procurement. House of Representatives urges speedy submission of 2025 budget, warns executive as fiscal deadline looms. And House demands accountability, calls for Libyan ambassador to be summoned over Super Eagles mistreatment. Glad to know you've joined us on You and Your Reps. I am Victor, as welcome to the program. In a bold move to tighten the reins on federal procurement, the House of Representatives has greenlit a resolution that could reshape how public funds are managed. Now, the resolution calls for a significant boost in the budgetary allocation for the Bureau of Public Procurement, aiming to equip the Bureau with the resources it needs to intensify its oversight. Now, with this enhanced capacity, the BPP is set to ramp up its monitoring efforts, covering more than 800 government ministries, departments, and agencies nationwide. Now, this decision reflects a commitment to transparency and accountability in the management of public resources, promising a new era of efficiency in the procurement landscape.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues.
Presenting the motion, Representative Uyime Idem describes the 1.8 billion naira 2024 budgetary allocation of the Bureau of Public Procurement as grossly inadequate to carry out its statutory responsibilities.
The House notes the need for the attainment of transparency, competitiveness, cost-effectiveness, value for money, and professionalism in the public sector procurement system. Urge the federal government through the Ministry of Budget Economic Planning to review the budgetary allocation for the Bureau of Public Procurement in line with current realities.
This motion is referred to the Committees on Public Procurement, Appropriation and National Planning for further legislative action.
Meanwhile, a bill to make it mandatory for government ministries, departments, and agencies to prioritize local manufacturers and indigenous companies in the procurement of goods and services scaled second reading.
Prohibit the exclusion of locally produced goods in the procurement process. To repeal Local Content Act of 2010.
The House also passed for second reading 2 bills to create a new state in the South-South region, as well as to establish a National Institute for Organic Agriculture and Food Safety Research.
To create a new state to be known as Ogoja State and for related matters.
Establish the National Institute for Organic Agriculture and Food Safety Research in Olona North Farm Settlement, Isquato, Abia State.
Lawmakers at Thursday's plenary referred the bill seeking independent candidacy to the House Committee on Constitution Review for comprehensive consideration and further legislative action.
The House of Representatives is pressing the executive arm to expedite the submission of the 2025 appropriation bill, urging swift action to ensure timely review by the National Assembly. Now, lawmakers also warned that the clock is ticking on the presentation of a medium-term fiscal policy framework as mandated by the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007.
The federal government must, not later than 4 months before the commencement of the next financial year, cause to be prepared and laid before the National Assembly and entered for the next 3 financial years. The time the National Assembly requires to exercise its functions as enshrined in Section 88, subsection 2B, is technically being taken away by the non-compliance of Section 11B of Fiscal Responsibility Act by the executive.
And giving a time frame to go ahead and get these budgets passed within a month, just like what happened last year, Mr. Speaker, is going to affect our oversight function.
The last budget, like we rightly noted, we were almost rushed In fact, we were rushed into concluding that budget. And that is what we want to avoid.
This motion is referred to the Committees on National Planning and Economic Development, Appropriation and Finance for further legislative action.
A motion seeking stable prices of petrol and cooking gas was referred to a joint ad hoc committee for investigation.
Does the regulation allow the price of petroleum product to be different in Lagos, in Abuja, in Jos, in Katsina, in Gombe?
We are calling on government not to remove the cylinder that the poor are already living under oxygen.
The joint committee of the House and Senate that's already mandated to take care of this situation should speedily get to work.
Lawmakers called for rehabilitation of highways in parts of the country.
Federal Minister of Works and FEMA to make adequate provision for the erosion control and rehabilitation at Obinomba, Ubiaroko, Umukwata section of Old Sapele Agbo Road.
Liaise with the Federal Ministry of Works and relevant agencies to ensure the speedy completion of the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Road.
The House also received the report of its Committee on Police Affairs on a bill for an act to amend the Nigeria Police Act 2020 to review the service years of police personnel.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives is calling on the federal government to summon the Libyan ambassador to Nigeria, demanding answers for the mistreatment of the Super Eagles by the Libyan Football Federation. Now, this move comes in response to a motion of urgent public importance raised on the floor of the House.
Many are yet to come to terms with the maltreatment of Nigeria's Super Eagles by the Libyan authorities prior to the return leg of the 2025 AFCON qualifiers. The House condemned the embarrassment of the Nigerian team and called for an investigation.
Despite their biting the plight to a small airport with little or no amenities, the Libyan authority does not allow the team to get out of the airport or move to their hotel. No access to internet, no food. The airport was cordoned and they were held hostage for 18 hours.
This for me is an embarrassment, not only for the team, Nigerians, and also Africans. This matter deserves very, very serious and urgent investigation to make sure that similar incident does not occur in the future.
In another development, the House sought lasting solutions to the periodic release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon.
Mandate the Federal Minister of Water Resources and Federal Minister of Works to expedite the completion of the Dasin Hausa Dam in Adamawa State, which will act as a buffer and help to absorb excess water released from Lagdo Dam and rehabilitation of critical infrastructure in flood-prone areas.
Also note the recent flooding in Sokoto State, which resulted in the destruction of Sokoto, Goranyo, Sabon Birni, and Niger border roads.
Another motion highlights the dilapidation of federal highways as lawmakers advocate increased allocation to the Federal Road Maintenance Agency.
Allocate 20% of the Ministry of Works budget to enable Federal Road Maintenance Agency to function effectively.
The House passed 3 bills, including a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education Special in Duku, Gombe State.
You and your reps also spoke with the representative of Breniwa Guri Kirikasama Federal Constituency, Jigawa State, Abubakar Hassan Fulata, about the tragic explosion in Majia Town, Taura local government area, which has claimed more than 150 lives. Now, as chair of the House Committee on University Education, he also weighed in on the government's new curriculum, which emphasizes skill acquisition alongside academic learning.
It's a shock, and as a Muslim, whenever we are confronted with such a situation, we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. From God we came, and to whom we shall finally return. It's shocking, is devastating. It's very unfortunate that such a large number of people can lose their lives within a very short moment. And accidents like this keep on occurring all over the country. And the people seems to take for granted the danger of petroleum products. Whenever there are accidents of this nature, people just think of the immediate benefit of scooping petrol. That's in many parts of the country, and it ends up consuming the lives of many. There's need for agencies like NOAA to carry out very thorough and comprehensive enlightenment programs on the dangers of petroleum products. That whenever such accident happen, instead of even coming nearer to the vehicle, people should run away from the scene of accidents, because of once it is highly inflammable, once it comes, the accident of this nature occurs, and there's heat, it is taken for granted that fire will immediately ignite. So people should avoid the scenes of such accidents. I would like to seize this opportunity to condole with the people of Jigawa State, my state, the governor, and the people of Majia in particular, and Toro local government, and Jigawa State in general. I condole with them, commiserate with them over the loss of a very large number of people within just a moment. We pray that God in His infinite mercies grant the souls of the departed at Jannah Firdausi, and also we pray that such incidents should never occur in any part of the country. The existence of a very large host of uneducated people on our streets portends a lot of danger to the nation. Any effort that can be put in place to take those children off the streets is a very welcome development. I, not only as a representative, but also as the chair of Committee on University Education, will support wholeheartedly and do my best to ensure the success of such endeavor by my government. There's nothing we can do to those children other than taking them off. There's nothing we can do better than taking them off the streets. First of all, to get them educated. They deserve education. But maybe due to circumstance of birth and also the poverty of their parents, such children are just roaming about in the streets. Some with are taken advantage of by certain individuals in the name of peripatetic education. But if such efforts are organized by government and that they are put in a proper, well-organized schooling system, they will be able to take advantage of, one, the formal Western education, and also other forms of education like the Islamic education. You can also, in other areas where there is no uh, Islamic education, you can also teach them skills. You can acquire education along with skills. They can be trained to be carpenters. They can be trained to be successful farmers. They can be trained to be very good, excellent fishermen. Any profession, for that matter. Therefore, such an endeavor by the government is welcome, and I will do my best in my capacity as one of the education-related chairmen to ensure its success through appropriating adequate funds to sustain the program.
Let's take a look at Bill on the committee segment. What does this mean and how many types are there? We probed Chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive, for answers.
There are two types of bills that come on the floor, money bills and non-money bills. Money bills refer to bills that have to do with the appropriation, the budget of the government. Those are money bills. And such bills usually have a special and different method of consideration on the floor. First, when these bills are presented by the executive, it's regarded as first reading. For the other bills, they have to be printed out, gazetted, and circulated among members and listed formally on the other paper to be deemed to have been first read. But when Mr. President presents the budget, it's deemed as first reading. And then same thing at the State House of Assemblies and local governments. When the chairman or the governor presents that bill, it's regarded as a first reading. Another distinguishing factor is that after the second reading, which is usually the debate of the merits and the demerits, advantages and disadvantages of the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriation, whereas the others are referred to committees, relevant committees. But in this case, the Committee of Appropriation takes the other committees as subcommittees of the Appropriation Committee, such that the aspects that have to do with a particular committee, say army, power, is given to those committees by the Appropriation Committee to go and work on. And then they submit their reports to the Appropriation Committee, who now submits the combined reports on the floor of the House. Another distinguishing factor is that when this report is submitted by the Appropriation Committee, it is considered not by a committee of the whole, but by the Committee on Supply. Committee on Supply, which in the House of Representatives is chaired by Mr. Speaker, whereas the Committee of the Whole is chaired by the Deputy Speaker. That's what our rule says.
This week on You and Your Reps, Chidimak Obeta, the voice of Nsukka Igboeze South Federal Constituency in Enugu State, shares his insights with us on the newly established Southeast Development Commission. Now, in a thought-provoking conversation, he delved into why the commission is crucial, touching on key issues like leadership, staffing, and funding, offering a clear perspective on the path ahead for the region.
The Act clearly stipulates how the structure of management will be. We have 5 states in the southeast. The chairman of the commission, the chairman of the board, would be from one of those states, 5 states. Then the MD will be from another state. Then you have 3 other executive directors that will be part of the management team representing the other 3 states. It will rotate, from one state to the other. So the way the act was drafted is that you start in alphabetical order. We are starting, the chairman is going to come from Abia. Then from Abia, after the first tenure, the chairman, the next chairman will be from Anambra down to Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo. So that's the way it was structured in the Act. So I'm satisfied with the structure. They did a very good job. And I have a very strong conviction that we have the eggheads, we have the brains from the Southeast that will be able to man this commission. I can authoritatively tell you that the decision makers will not just give us any kind of person. They will give us somebody that will really hit the ground running and that will meet the set objectives of this commission. For a start, we're happy, and I'm happy with the structure, with the 15% from all the states, all the 5 participating states, the 3% from annual budget of companies in oil and gas, extracting oil and gas, operating in that space, the 3% from mineral resources from the same geopolitical zone, and also the 50% for ecological fund. Yes, it's good to start. I can't say it's good, is the best. I can't say we have gotten it right. There's still room for improvement, and I expect that as we progress, that the federal government will look at it, and maybe the next assembly will look at it, or even this assembly, to see how we can improve in the funding. But I believe that more can be done. One of the greatest priorities of that commission will be to connect the entire Southeast states. We need to have a working rail line that connects the towns, the state capitals of the 5 states, including Delta. So it will stretch to Delta and rivers, so that our people can connect and trade can move. That is 1. 2, the roads, the road infrastructure in the Southeast. It don't cost much, and I'm sure in 2-3 years they'll be able to achieve, if not 80%, but at least 60% of the road infrastructure in the Southeast to connect the states. Then one other important area that I know that the Southeast Development Commission will look at is the area of dredging our water inland ways, so that we can be able to clear goods in Onitsha, so that we can have a terminal in Onitsha where we can clear goods, so that when you import, our importers bring in goods from overseas or wherever, they'll be able to bring it, by transferring them, those containers, into a smaller batch that will pull them down to Onitsha, to the Southeast. And it becomes a commercial hub that would cater and serve the geopolitical zone, extending to the south and some part of the middle belt, like Kogi, Nasarawa, and Benue.
Well, I guess the nascent commission has its work cut out. And that has been You and Your Reps. We thank you very much for watching. I'm Victor, as we join us again.